Welcome back everybody. Here I am again, back in the HQ. I've been playing about with a bit of silver today. Been playing about with a bit of silver today. I made a nice round. I did a little short of that, but I've got some more Flower Gold Wizard pay dirt to do. But before I do that, I thought I'd get my little wee jock out again. Now this is the test mat, one of the test mats that I was using, and this one had the best results of all the mats. You just get the air bubbles out. Air and gold, not good bedfellows. So make sure I get the air out, just use a toothbrush for that. I'm going to run a couple of Goldwise Monster. Can you see that okay? I'm sure you can. One of my favourites. I get a couple of 3 bags every month. And always good Scottish gold in there. So can't wait to get up there and do it for real. And if my decrepit old body allows, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have a quick session and run a couple of bags. Over the wee jock. So I've had a few test mats for that. The original mat was this green one, the sawtooth design. It worked very well, don't get me wrong, it worked very, very well. Yeah, you know, it worked an absolute treat, but, you know, as always, there's always ways to look and improve and test. And, he's come up with some new designs. So I was very, very fortunate to get my hands on these new designs. Just running it through the sieve, just take out the larger chunks of stone, because it just will gets caught in the little top there. And you never know, you might find a nuggie. There's always fabulous coloured rocks. The quartz always looks suspicious, like good old gold ore. Well, I think I've taken most of the bigger chunks out. It'll stop that tagging up at the top. I'll dump them in there. Handy little screens these. You get multiple little screens to go inside. So when you're working with just little bags of pay dirt, they work really well. So I'll get a bit of water in there, just to wet the whistle. It won't take long to run this through. I use one of my wizard scoops. Oh, first scoop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bits of gold sitting there. Now we're getting. Yeah, everything looks like it's moving about nicely. There's good agitation in there. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that piece there. So if you haven't tried it, I thoroughly recommend. It comes in multiple sizes, and you can always customise your bag if you want to. If you want to go for something a little bit spectacular, you can get custom sized bags. So you can pretty chuck this pay dirt through. I can see the gold, it's sitting there, and as the water's flowing over it, I can see it bedding down into them circles there. Plenty of dancing going on, so it's still working. It's like a gold grabber. The style of that mat, it must create these little mini underwater whirlpools and just I see it drawn down into them little ripple circles. Well, I did see a big scape then. That might be a very flat piece there, but it's bedding into the ripples. I will check my tailings, because of course doing this will take out much of the heavy materials. So panning out your tailings is quite simple really. It doesn't take long at all. I can see quite a chunk of silvery material down there. Plenty of gold showing at the top, which is just what we want. Just keep feeding it on. Another piece buried in then, I see. Brilliant mat design. Brilliant mat design. I can't tell you if this mat design is going to come into production yet, but I can tell you it works an absolute treat. Going to give this a quick little wash out. Yeah, I think we're pretty much there. Very seldom you find a flour gold. If you find a bit of black sand in your pay dirt, then now and again there's a little bit of gold in it, but most of the time it's bigger pieces. Yeah, that's an impressive line up there. Let's clear that top line out. It's just me playing really. Wow, I can see some beautiful gold lining up there. There is some travelled down about 2/3 of the way down the sluice. But like the bottom third, I can't see any visible gold. It's caught it all there. So what we'll do, I'm going to leave that running for a minute, because I know it will still shed some material. And a good way of checking, just hand under your flow and have a little look. There's lots of little bits there, so it is still shedding material. So it will fit it out and make for the final pan a bit easier. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to quickly swap my pan over. And I'm going to pan out these tailings, just to make sure I didn't surface anything over. But if I do find this quartz, unbelievable discoloration in this quartz. Well, it's all going to get crushed. When the crusher arrives, it's all going to get crushed, just in case. I know most ore doesn't have actual gold in it, but gold's where you find it, right? As a very famous wizard once said, gold is where you find it. So it won't take long to wash this larger chunks of quartz off the top. Interesting to see how much material is in the second tailings pan. This quartz. So once I get crushing, I tell you, if there's no gold in all this quartz, I'll be amazed. The colours. There must be metals present in there. Rusty colours, orange to like a very deep reddish colour. So I know you can pan this down quite quick. So if you fancy practicing a bit of speed panning, you don't have the heavy black sands at the end to slow you down. I don't think there's nothing in there. I am so confident in that mat's ability to catch that gold. We're going to pan this out anyway. Well, I did see one piece. There was one piece I think may have scooted down, but that's just, it could have been just a bit of an odd shape. This is why you check your tailings, right? So I'm pretty much down to it now. There's a little bit of material in there, but not a lot. Oh, there is. There's one piece. Look at that. So I have one piece of very, very fine flat gold. I don't know if I can show you that. See if I can bring that up to show you. So in the tailings pan, we draw that water out. Pour it all over the camera. Let me see if I can. Right in that top side of the pan, there it is, look. There is a little dot of gold. So that is all. As the there is, I don't see any gold in the material, and there is one dot of gold. There it is. Bring it back down. So that was a pretty good result then. One little dot of gold. Well, we won't lose that. We will. Not sure I got it or not. Sure I did. There it is. So there we go. So one tiny little floater speck. So not too bad at all. So I'm going to swap my tubs back over. Sink the tailings in there. Get that in position. So it has shed a bit more material. Let's have a look. Maybe another tablespoon full of material. I'll check there's any gold in it, obviously, but I'm sure there won't be because the gold. I watched this bit of gold and it hit the circle and kind of spun and sunk. So it was kind of dragged down in the vortex. That was pretty cool to see. Just pan this out quick. Yeah, there's nothing in there. So I think I could leave that to thin out a little bit longer. Which that's what I shall probably do. I shall let that thin out a bit longer. But just to finish the video, I'm going to lift you up and bring you over just to show you. The gold shows up beautifully on that new matting. Just drying your hands off quickly. Please bear with me guys, I'm still practicing with the gimbal. Just takes a bit of practice to get used to, but I'm having good fun with it. So let's bring you around. Let's bring you around here. Keep that horrible glare off. And you see the gold sitting there, look. It shows up fantastic on that red mat. I'll see if I can get a little bit of focus, so we'll draw down a bit. There we go, look. The contrast, even with the glare, is pretty good. There's some fat bits of gold there. Different shapes, I love the different shapes, chunky bits, flat bits. So it's sitting there right up in that top riffle. And the next one, and the next. There's a nice line of gold there. So you can lose that ripple there. And I think about the third of the way down, you might find a couple of bits more. There and there. So the bottom third of the sluice is clear. So that's done a really good job. I'm really pleased with that. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm having fabulous fun, fabulous times. Enjoying building up the shack, and new stickers have arrived lately, and James and Midwest Gold Fever and some more Flower Gold Wizard with my latest pay dirts. It's a great adventure. So if you haven't, just dip your toe in and get started and have some fun. It is an awesome adventure. This is Movie Doo, having a fabulous afternoon, signing off.